minutes late. I'd like everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we will have a seat. And as we normally do, I would ask for a moment of silence for our recently departed residents, friends, and neighbors, as well as all those suffering around the world. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. All right, we'll now have a roll call of board members done by Alyssa.
Mike Messina.
Present.
Ed Whitman.
Present.
Mary Adler.
Present.
Matthew Pellicano.
Present.
Annette Bailey.
Present.
Okay, we're going to have our guest speaker come up here after we approve minutes. We have two sets of minutes that need to be approved by board members. So we are going to now record the approval of the two sets, and the first set of minutes was from the last open board meeting dated 1/15/26. May I have a motion for approval of these minutes from a board member?
My motion.
May I please have a second?
My motion.
All those board members in favor of approving the minutes from 1/15/2026, please state aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion for the approval of the 1/15/26 minutes is now passed. There was a second meeting held in January, and we need to approve those minutes, board members, so this is just a formality again. Can I please have a motion from a board member for the approval of the special business meeting minutes dated 1/30/26?
My motion.
May I please have a second?
Second.
All those board members in favor of approving the special meeting minutes from 1/30/26 meeting, please state aye. Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion for the approval of the 1/30/26 special meeting minutes is now passed. Okay, we have a guest speaker. We have several people in the back. There is no fire going on right now, don't worry. So we have Tim Carson from the Toms River Fire District Number 2 Administrator. I'd like to come up here and give us a little talking to and educate us potentially here. Tim, come on up.
Good morning, all, and thank you for having us today. We appreciate the time. My name is Tim Carson. I'm the administrator for Toms River Fire District Number 2. And I'm here with Commissioner Kevin Britton and Commissioner Joe Duff. I also have two of your local residents that are volunteer firemen with the Pleasant Plains Fire Department, Dave Lenston and John Crocio. So today I'm here to ask for your support for our budget, which is happening on Saturday from 2 to 9 p.m. at the Clayton Avenue Firehouse at 40 Clayton Avenue in Toms River. We do have some good news for the budget for this year. Our tax rate is staying flat at 0.053 per $100 assessment. So year over year, we stayed exactly the same. So a home assessed at $500,000, the fire tax annual would be $265 or 73 cents a day. That is due to the fiscal responsibility of the board and the fire departments working together to try and come up with as much cutting as we can do to keep our tax rate as flat as we can possibly keep it. So year over year, you're going to see the budget has increased $101,157. That is actually covered due to the increase in gradables for all of the building that is going on in Toms River. Everywhere you look in our district, you're seeing buildings going up. They're getting bigger by the day. And we're trying to accommodate that with the fire department. So this year, we are purchasing a brand new ladder truck for the Pleasant Plains Fire Department at a cost of $2.2 million. That $2.2 million has been already accrued for through the fiscal responsibility of the board over a 7-year period. So there is no reason to go out and finance the truck. truck is being paid for out of cash, so there's no finance charges. That ladder truck, probably 5 years ago, would have been half the price, but because of everything that's gone on in the world, we're looking at a 2.2. The ladder truck that we originally looked at was close to $3 million. So we ended up, trying to get the best bang for the buck. And we just did a pre-construction meeting on that on Tuesday with the manufacturer to get as much as we can get going, to get it locked in. The district continues to have zero debt, so everything we do, we try and do with cash, so there's no financing for the district. And just to give you some numbers that I'm sure you all see in your own households, our workers' comp insurance this year has increased $23,000. It went from $166,000 to $190,000. Part of that increase is a good reason. We added an additional 15 firefighters to the volunteer ranks. Your fire department is completely 100% volunteer. So that is absolutely a huge savings to taxpayers, not having to have a career paid fire department. And the Pleasant Plains Fire Department, something you should all be proud of for these guys, is continue to get the trucks out the door every day at a minimum of 3 trucks every day out the door to every single alarm. That company responded to 884 calls last year for help in the area. So, some other increases that we saw this year that we had no control over was our liability insurance increased $28,000. The reason for that, I'm sure you see in your own personal, your homeowners and your car insurance, the cost of replacing anything now is astronomical. Like we just said, a ladder truck is $2.2 million. That ladder truck 5 years ago was $1.2 million maybe. So that's where it's increasing. We're also seeing that an increase nationwide for the fire apparatus. They're increasing our deductibles from $1,000 to $5,000. God forbid there's an accident. So there's nothing we can do about it. They just basically told us that's what it is. And then any manufacturer, any vendor that we went to, it's going to increase. State healthcare, for anybody who's a state worker, state healthcare benefits this year forced an increase down to all of the municipalities of 36% per employee. So we had no control over that. So for our fire bureau, our dispatchers, our academy workers, myself, the 36% increase, that's seen by the board and by the employee. So that was an unforeseen cost. Maintenance for the vehicles, I'm sure when you take your car down for an oil change, it's no longer $20. Maintenance for a vehicle, an oil change for a car, you're looking at $100 minimum. For a fire apparatus, $500. So we had to increase our cost for vehicle maintenance from $90,000 to $120,000 just to cover for all of the parts and stuff for the fire apparatus. Our equipment, for all the equipment repairs, there are costs that have to be done every year. So all of our fire hose, all of our pumps, all of our ladders, our extrication tools, our meters, and our air packs have to be tested annually. That's a requirement of the NFPA. Those costs have gone through the roof. So a pump test on a simple pumper went from $250 to $375 per pump. Hose, it sounds crazy, but hose used to be 17 cents a foot to test, is now 26 cents a foot. We have 47,000 feet of hose. So it is what we're looking at. Turnout gear. Turnout gear this year is increasing another 10%. I know I spoke last year 2 years. Turnout gear increased, it's increasing another 6%. To outfit one firefighter is $6,973.84. That includes a coat, pants, boots, a helmet, a mask, a belt, firefighting gloves, extrication gloves, a flashlight, and a safety boot. And those prices just continue to increase, and we're trying to lobby against it. We tried to lobby against the apparatus replacement costs. Right now, we finally got some headway with legislation, and they are actually going after the manufacturers of fire apparatus. We're hoping to see something change, but the costs have to stop. Utilities, I'm sure you all got the lovely gas bill from New Jersey Natural Gas. It's absolutely absurd, which is why we tried so hard to keep this budget as flat as we could. All of our utilities, gas, electric, water, everything's gone up astronomically. Physicals for firefighters, each physical for every firefighter is $815 a year. There's 120 firefighters that have to have tested annually. That's $97,800. The good thing about that is we've looked at ways to get physicals for firefighters. Fortunately, there's a family called the Busio family. Captain Busio was a firefighter in Jersey City that was killed in the line of duty. his family has set up the Busio Fund, which allows all firefighters to try and get a physical annually, and they cover the cost. They only accept what the insurance company takes from their insurance, and the rest of it's paid for out of the Busio Fund. We did have a bunch of firefighters this year, I believe it was 20 of them, went and had the Busio physical done, which saved the district that much money. So that was another savings. I think it worked out great. Like I said before, Pleasant Plains last year, answered 884 calls. The Silverton Fire Company, which is the sister company of District 2, answered 514 calls for a total response for Fire District 2 of 1,398 calls. On top of that, we responded to fire prevention for all of the schools and local organizations that asked us to come in. We've also participated in all the various events with Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, the soccer team, baseball teams, parades for the Little League. When the high school team wins a championship, we try and send fire apparatus out there to bring the kids home to celebrate their wins and their championships. The National Line Out, all the downtown events, we try and send stuff to get out to meet the public to show them what the fire department does. And then the last thing that I have, which still to this day blows my mind, is a portable radio that we carry on our hips are now $12,000 a piece. And there's nothing you can do. I call it the Motorola lock because they're the only ones that make them for the intrinsically safe that we the way we need them. And the pages that we carry on our hips to let us know that there's a fire call are now $950 a piece that every firefighter carries. So these costs are literally choking us, but we're doing the best we can. So basically in total, we're asking for support for the budget. They're doing everything they can. Again, it's 100% volunteer fire department. Everybody that goes out there gives their heart and soul. Their families give up a lot. They're leaving their tables to go out, leaving their families at dinner, missing kids' sports events. So to make sure that this town is covered. They do a phenomenal job. You know, there's guys that work all day long, go to calls all night long, and get up and go right back to work the next day. So that's why we're pushing for the support for this. Anything we can do to make your community safer or better, we're always open. Give us a call. You have two gentlemen here that live in the development. We'd be glad to come out. If you want to have a show and tell, we'll bring all the trucks, whatever we can do, just to see what some of these trucks can do. And like I said, looking around us, this town is getting bigger by the day. So all living right next door, you got these office buildings that were just built. You know, the current ladder truck that's being replaced is only 70 feet. So we're replacing it with a 100-foot ladder truck just because we need to reach to be able to get to the roof of these buildings. So we appreciate it. Anybody have any questions for us?
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is there any movement in place to expand the firehouse behind the Rite Aid up here on the corner?
That's where my office is.
Yes.
So currently, right now, there's no movement to expand the firehouse. What we have done is expanded the apparatus. We did purchase a used piece of apparatus, which is a ladder truck from District 1 for a cost of $50,000, which was a humongous deal that we took over. That gives us a ladder truck and an engine, a tanker, and a utility vehicle all respond out of that firehouse now. And there is an increase in membership coming out of that firehouse. So right now, you're getting 2 trucks on the road almost every day out of that firehouse.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We're behind you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Thank you all. Have a great day and stay well. Thank you.
Thanks for coming,
Okay, well, that was very educational. You know, cost overruns are just something that we're all dealing with, and the fire company is not exempt from that. You hear some of these numbers, you say, it can't possibly be that something costs $12,000, it's a radio, but I don't know what to say about that. But we will experience, you know, increases in what we would like to have and what we have in front of us. Moving on, we're now going to go to the President's report. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you, Annette. Okay, on the note, we heard about insurance costs going up from the fire department, and we have another motion. This motion is kind of painful, and the motion is, every year we create a budget, and we estimate, or we get quotes from our insurance carrier for what it would cost, just as the fire department does. So in our present budget for 2026, it was $155,000, or $150,000 of what was approved in the budget. Why am I holding this? I don't know. Anyway, what was approved was $150,000. Now, what ended up happening after dissecting the insurance policy, the finance department helped in the analysis of it. We went with the budget of $150,000, and then lo and behold, we found something out after digging through it. The coverage that we had with our prior policy from our prior insurance carrier that we were dropped from had clauses in there to protect from lawsuit individuals on very important committees that we have in the development. And I'm going to use an example. Government committee. We need to have that. We need to have an art committee. We need to have a grounds committee. We need to have an election committee. We need to have a finance committee. There was no coverage for the chair people of these very important committees. So that's not fair to the individuals that are heading it up, that are volunteering their time. And we went back to the insurance carrier and said, why did this drop out? Well, you know, there's increases, we didn't want it to. Like, these people have to be covered. So there was an additional expense that we have to have a motion on here of some $35,000 for the coverage for these individuals. It's not open for discussion. It's open for these people donating their time, and they must be covered. Now, the board of directors was always covered, and these people were always covered, but the latest insurance policy dropped off the other people. Insurance is out of control. So there is a motion. This motion is to document an increase of insurance costs above and beyond what was approved in the 2026 budget. It appears that the original approved cost did not afford coverage for key committee chairs, for art, grounds, finance, government, election, and home sales committee. After uncovering these shortfalls, the board unanimously decided that all volunteer chair people from these essential committees must be covered. This increased coverage had a cost of an additional $35,000, making our total insurance premium for this year $188,000. Just to put this in perspective, insurance costs have gone up $100,000 in the last 3 years for this development. Partially because we got dropped by our insurance carrier and we were considered a risk and we had to get insured by another company. Partly because, like everyone else, your insurance costs have gone up. And this lack of coverage for key people is ridiculous. So anyway, can I please have a motion from a board member for the approval of this increased insurance expense? May I have a second from a board member? Okay, we have 2 seconds, so we got a second and third. Okay. All those board members in favor of approving this insurance expense, as I have just explained, please state aye. Opposed, state nay. The ayes have it, and the motion for this insurance expense increase and coverage is now passed. That means the board of the budget, $35,000. So that means the board has to find a way to try to make that money up by the end of the year. And we will be trying to find a way. Okay, we'll now move on to the president's report. We're going to start with a 4-letter word. Snow. Oh, we weren't supposed to talk, oh no. Snow and landscaping services. Back in December, we had a snow event where the services being provided by Meticulous Landscaping were insufficient for our needs, to say the least. After the event, Meticulous was called to meet with the board, and they were informed that there would be a 25% penalty to them for the fees that they thought they were going to charge us, as well as a warning that in the event of a reoccurrence of this poor performance, they would be let go. Oh, this is interesting. 1 week later, the company was bought out by Riverview. Okay. Meticulous was taken over, bought by Riverview Landscaping. This is all common knowledge to all. What is not common knowledge is that the board and Ray have been in conversation with multiple other vendors over the past year to prepare for the worst. In fact, we all arranged to have a backup company available for this last snow event in the event that we encountered a bad performance. To be clear, it was no accident or stroke of luck that Down to Earth, another landscaping company, showed up one day after the Riverview Meticulous failure. Kind of saw it coming, right? Okay, so it was planned. So when Meticulous dropped the ball, Down to Earth rescued the community. Effective immediately, Meticulous/Riverview are no longer our providers of snow and landscaping services because we told them if it happened again, you're gone. It happened again, they're gone. So our new company is Down to Earth. It was the company that came to save us. I feel compelled to share some frustration now. We are all entitled to our own opinion about how things are done and what decisions are made and when they're made with the information that we personally have. The problem is that people do not have all the information as the board does. I have heard and seen comments like, fire them on the spot, should have done this sooner, get the pitchforks out, why wait for a second failure? So these are all very good questions. And when people post them, you're entitled to your opinion. So I'm going to say this. If something goes wrong, and you have your opinion, let's say Rita, I pick Rita because she loves me anyway. Rita says, you guys screwed up. You should have fired them. I said, Rita, we don't want to have a lawsuit. We check with the lawyer. We make sure that our contract provides the provision that we can dump them. We want to say, if brought in front of the judge, and my wife always do this, if you have to start off when a police officer pulls you up and say, but officer, you're going to lose, right? So the board looks at this, gets legal counsel, and says, we gave them the ultimatum, we gave them the penalty, and although it was the worst storm in 8 years, not my problem, not your problem, not your problem. You failed, you're gone, and now we're very comfortable in the position that we gave them every opportunity, had the other company on the side, and now they can't go to court. Now, you can say you should have fired them, but this board is responsible and will be in front of the judge, not you. So the frustration is, if you think we're not looking ahead, if you think there's not a logical reason, ask a board member. Because, online, keyboard people doing this, not always the right answer. So, yes, we suffered an epic failure the second time, but there's no way this is going to court. We're out of it. The letter is issued, effective immediately, done. Let's see, where am I? Where am I at this? Page 6, yeah, no. Snow. Okay, I'm down the right page. Okay. As you should all know by now, there will be a town hall meeting this coming Tuesday in regard to the recent settlement of our lawsuit, which ended up costing the HOA approximately $95,000.
How much?
There was an extremely brief Zoom that was held whereby the board validated the conclusion and settlement of that lawsuit. So that was made public because it needed to be, right? As this is now a matter of open public record, a full explanation of what happened will now be available for all. This is being done in an effort to have full open transparency on the costly lawsuit. Dave Merritt, our attorney that handled our case, We'll go over step by step what and when things transpired. Questions and answers will be provided for as long as it takes to satisfy all residents. If you cannot attend this town hall meeting, it will be videoed as well. If you cannot attend and have a question or two, please have another resident pose your question for you. Questions in regard to the settlement will not be dealt with today because we have a special meeting just for that on Tuesday. And I encourage every resident to either come or view the video. Again, in an effort for full transparency, which every resident is entitled to, this was a lawsuit that cost everyone money. Okay. I will now report out on our pools. More frustration, a little bit. But I've toned it down. My wife read it 3 times. No. All right, so we have a pool and we have lifeguards. And the reason why we have lifeguards is a couple of fold. One is, believe it or not, there are people in the community that feel more comfortable when there's a lifeguard present. Second reason, we have lifeguards so that we can afford visitors, children, to swim. Now, we could all take the position, this is an over 55 community, and why should we be so concerned about the children? And there's some truth to that. But the flip side of that is that some grandparents, like me, like you know, have responsibilities in terms of babysitting, and it would be nice if they could bring their children, as long as they're not in diapers, to the pool. So some communities have taken the risk, the liability of having no lifeguards. And that's something that's being looked into. But there is a downside to that. And it's always, always liability. The pool company carries with it a $1 million liability insurance coverage. $1 million. So when we have the lifeguards here and someone gets injured, they're on the hook, not the HOA. But the HOA can get named in the lawsuit, obviously. But the board has taken the position, until we decide not to have visitors or take the risk, that it would be nice to have that $1 million policy taking care of business for us. Especially since we were dropped by one insurance carrier. And if there was a huge claim that comes up, we could be dropped again, and then there's the potential of going self-insured, which is against our bylaws. So although something may look like a potential of a savings, the risk side of it, the liability side of it, far outweighs the possible risk. So saving $50,000 sounds like, wow, why don't we do that? Well, there's other things we can do to save money that don't have the liability risk. So again, I'm going to say, if you have a question, instead of being on the keyboard and, you know, I heard this and Joe told me that. I spoke to a board member and they told me it would be better put in print. Okay, that wasn't too frustration. Okay. Gym. I report out on the gym. The gym committee has met recently and have come up with plans for this year. These plans include the regulation of temperature in the gym for cost savings and doing some necessary needed repairs to gym equipment and the purchase of new dumbbells. All in total, we're looking at maybe $2,000. Now, in our reserve study, we have money that is allocated for things like this. It's a foresight into what you're going to need to spend. And although that expense may be for next year or the year after, we can take that money a little bit sooner and use it because, as an example, we have money to redo some things here in the ballroom that we may not have to do immediately. So money has been planned and allocated for many different projects, and finance and the board massage when we do things to make it all fit properly. So although it doesn't sound like a lot, it's just something, and the pool and the gym committee, you know, they're trying to keep it running as efficiently as possible, making sure the equipment is safe. Like one of the main cables in the Vector machine, and Dave will know this, one of the main cables in the Vector machine is starting to fray. right? So that could ruin the pulleys. And then if it snaps, someone will be doing a press behind the neck and they're gonna get hit in the head with a bar. Yeah, I think we should fix it. Yeah, I don't know, maybe we didn't. So anyway, things like that. So that is my report out on the gym. And last thing I wanted to mention is May is right around the corner. What happens in May? Every May, the flowers bloom. Every May, there are elections for board positions. There are 2 board positions that are up for re-election this May. And anyone interested in throwing their hat in the ring to be on the board, now you need to do some serious thinking about it. Besides the idea that it's a somewhat of a large commitment, if you really want to get involved, now's the opportunity to try to get involved. So again, there are 2 board positions that are coming available, and anyone can put in to be on the election ballot, and feel free to do it. That's great. Okay, and that's all I have. So we're now going to move on to the Vice President's report done by Ed.
Good morning. I will be very brief. I am now returning to my position as liaison to the Grounds Committee, and my good friend Matt is going to be in charge of liaising with the our committee. So that's just for brief note. Secondly, I just wish to remind you that when there is a holiday on a day which otherwise would be a trash pickup or recycle pickup, the pickup is postponed a day. So if it's a holiday like we had this past week, it's kicked back a day. So don't put your Robo cans out as if it were usual if there's a holiday. These dates are always announced, the postponement, the delay, is always announced by our office staff in an email. So your email on the day or 2 before will tell you when to put the robos out. And it's also included in the monthly schedule in the views. So please, to save yourself running back and forth in and out of the garage, note that if there's a holiday, the robos are postponed a day. And lastly, as liaison to the grounds, I would make note that spring is coming and the Grounds Committee will be resuming its oversight of the Commons late this March. So the Grounds Committee goes on a hiatus for the winter months, but then in March it resumes its activities. So thank you very much. That's the Vice President's report.
Okay. Thank you, Ed. Oh, I forgot something. How to put this nicely? Okay, I think I got it. So if there's a problem that occurs, let's say a snow event, and people call the office and scream at the office staff. Scream. We have recordings. It's unacceptable behavior. Okay? And if residents want to call to register the concern, I think after the 3rd phone call and leaving a message, they shouldn't go on to leave 9 more for a total of 12. Because on that Monday morning when the office staff came in, they had 300 messages. Now, if you're the 299th and yours is critical, they're not going to get to it until tomorrow, maybe. So I would please ask for some decorum when dealing with the office staff, not to yell at them, and after the 3rd call it a day. Now, on the other hand, I'm not encouraging people to call me, but people will call me, and that's okay. And if you want to yell at a board member, That's another thing you could do. Maybe it's a little better than yelling at the office staff who does not have control over anything. It's not fair to them. So I would just please ask for that. I forgot to mention that. Okay, we will now move on to Mary and the treasurer's report.
Mike after me, that's all. Our report is very short, it's only for 1 month, so it seems like we lost $1,323 for the month of January. Why? It's a good question. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Okay, all right, but our income was $9,285 better. That's what confused me. Income was better, but we lost. Why was the income better? Because we got money from fines, penalties, and we did a lot more closing on resales, which kept our budget intact. Our expenses were $24,000 worse than budget. A provision for snow removal of $40,000 was recorded in January. This compares with a budget of $15,000, which leaves us over budget for $25,000 for snow removal. There were other variants, but they didn't really come to anything. Our balance sheet. On January 31st, 2026, our cash and investment funds totaled approximately $3.5 million, most of which is in our replacement fund, which has a balance of approximately $2.6 million. These funds are invested in CDs insured by the FDIC, in U.S. Treasury notes, in money market funds, and some funds are actually kept in cash in the bank. Thank you.
Okay, so we will now move on to the secretary's report for Matt.
Good morning. I'm very happy to be on the audit committee. I have a background in construction, and I'm going to try to help them as much as I can. With spring coming, I want everybody to know that anything done on the exterior of their homes has to have an ARC application attached to it. So I appreciate everybody doing that. Also, SO Brothers are going to resume in the spring when the weather gets a little warmer. We're going to finish all the sidewalks, the sealing of the cracks and everything. But it's a little too cold right now to do that. Also, we're going to renovate the kitchen to the town standards, Board of Health. We're going to put a new sink in there, 3-bay sink. That's going to be approved. And take the dishwasher, remove the dishwasher, put a new countertop in. That's all already approved and budgeted for. Also, as Mike said, we have an election coming up, and we'd like everybody to get involved with this. And we're going to have electronic voting. And in the key house, there's applications for everything. And we'd appreciate everybody voting. We have 926 homes, and we'd like, at least 75% vote on this. And my door's always open, and my phone's always on for any questions concerning anything to do with ARC. Thank you.
So I'd just like to say, it's kind of interesting that things change, like the ordinance for the kitchen. So if you go in our kitchen, there's a sink, okay? But the township came in for an inspection and said, well, you hold events, you cook there, that sink is insufficient. I said, it's been working for 28 years, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, no, it has to have 3 bays. You're serving food, has to have 3 bays. I said, 28 years, 29 years, well, it's like, no. So that's something that's gonna have to be done. It's kind of interesting, things like that come up, like smoke detectors in this room. There were none. 28 years, 29 years, no smoke detectors. They're there now, but it's like, okay, we had inspections, but we have to do what we have to do. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Okay, thank you, Matt. We'll now move on to the Director at Large report from Renee.
Good morning, everybody. I want to start with the signs, the speed signs. They're all ready to go. We're waiting for the ground to thaw. And we're also looking into a movable radar sign, which is probably not going to be in this year's budget, but we're considering doing that. There's been a lot of speeding in this community, and it's just not good. Secondly, we are designating long-term parking spots for anyone who has an issue with too many cars in their driveway, long-term visitors that are going to be staying over the summer. They will be set up in the back parking lot behind the clubhouse, starting 3/1. We believe that it's going to be about $50 a spot per month over that, over a 3-month period. More details will be coming in regards to that. Last but not least, we are the board is considering removing the overnight guard at a possible substantial savings. The bylaws have been submitted to, the town hall, we'll have a town hall meeting regarding that issue in the future. Also, last but not least, I am on the Docks and Policies Committee. The bylaws have been submitted to the township on January 9th, and we are waiting for a certified copy from the county. That should be coming very soon. And thank you.
All right, thank you, Annette. So some projects got delayed because of the snow, just like anything else. As part of, we mentioned that we had a deficit in our budget. The insurance threw us off $35,000, and some of the things that the board is looking at is the potential of saving monies, as an example, with the overnight guard at the front gate. That would not happen before we do a town hall meeting, as Annette said, so that we can educate everybody about what it means in terms of savings and what it would mean. And other things that, we're looking at other things because we have to try to save money. So, it's the way things are. Money is tight for everyone. Okay, well, thank you, Annette, and we'll now move on to the management report from Ray.
Good morning, everybody. I want you to get comfortable. This is a 2-bottle report right here. First off, I just want to start off and announce that Alyssa will be leaving us on March 9th for maternity leave. So she will be missed. Just to go into some updates here, we have the census out. People are turning them in. We just want to remind everybody the deadline for that is March 1st. We do require copies of your driver's license for ID, for age verification, and also the last 5 digits on your white card, white access cards, need to be recorded. So I'm going to start with a couple of the elephants in the room here, maintenance fee updates. Every January we seem to have delays in the deliveries and receiving of maintenance fees. This year was no different. The budget being approved in early December delayed statements going out, which we expected much as last year. So there were late payments going in. However, this year we experienced, and we have recorded 13 residents who mail in their checks, physically mail the checks. They don't use direct deposit, any kind of bank deposit. And they have not been received to date. They were mailed out between December 27th, January 2nd. We've had Taylor investigate the lockbox company. We've looked here and there. We've talked to the post office without any resolution. We did have one homeowner come in and say that in that same period, not only did her maintenance fee check was lost, but 5 of her utility bills were lost. So of course you sit there and you look at, oh, maybe it's a post office, but we don't know. All we know is there are 13 people here that checks have not been recorded. We waited, expecting that maybe it was mailed to the previous lockbox. We had no verification, so we asked these people to reissue checks for their maintenance fees. In doing so, we started to see that, say, a 7 to 8 day delivery lapse from the time they were mailed to the time that they're actually recorded in the lockbox. And we wanted people to know that. People who mailed it out on the 5th, 6th, and 8th of February, we just saw were posted to the account yesterday. Taking into account the weekends and the holiday, we're figuring 7, 8, 9 days for them. They do pick up at the lockbox daily. Don't know how many times that they typically pick them up, but they're picked up regularly in the morning. The information is posted and then sent to Taylor to be recorded in your files. Which brings us to a possible solution. Taylor had set up some time ago with the bank account at Western Alliance Bank. It's called New Balance Feature. It went out back in December. We have flyers up here for anybody who's interested. And what this is it's an automatic deduction from your account for your maintenance fees. It helps you avoid any late fees or what have you. You receive an email 3 days before the deduction, and this would be able, that your maintenance fees would be pulled out on a regular and a timely basis. What we're also scheduling is for anybody who is not computer savvy like myself. We're trying to get people from Taylor to come down and work a day out to where they can instruct everybody and help everybody sign up for this, if in case you're interested in this. There are 122 people currently signed up for these deductions out of the 926. I know a lot of people have your own systems, your own agreements with your banks. This could help, and it's something please consider. Going in just as also on financial, we're started working with our auditor for the annual audit, financial statements. That's in process, and we usually get that out. They come into a presentation late spring, so we'll keep you updated on that. As we mentioned, Matt mentioned SO Brothers are looking to come. Once this clears out here and this snow and drainage is delaying a lot of projects we want to do, they'll be out here to do the asphalt walkways. As Ned mentioned, with the reserved parking space, we are waiting for it to clear up a little bit. We can get out there and designate the 3 spots in the back parking lot for that. They have to be marked and signed, so we're just waiting for a little bit more cooperation from the weather. And as we mentioned last month, the AED machine that was located outside the outdoor sports court, we brought it in for the season. That's due to the temperature dropping, and it's a safe temp zone for this machine. Once the spring sports start up again, we will be returning it to its position. As far as 2026 project, we're looking at the asphalt replacement project, phase 5 out in the Victoria area. That will be scheduled at the late summer of this year. We will start going out to bid around April or May, and hopefully we get some favorable asphalt pricing. We are still in the planning phases for the retaining walls. Again, this will be a cold weather project. We have survey proposals from the engineer who did the initial study. We are working with the attorney to get information and agreements on the landscaping renewal. Now that we have a new landscaping company, we are working with them to get pricing on these landscape shrubbery removals, but also they are an accredited hardscape company. They do a lot of construction too, so we're going to try and get them into the mixes with the engineer when they go out to bid to the 5 or 6 companies for this wall. Additional projects we're looking at for upgrades, the Whitesville control gate box. We had problems with that during the storm where with the ice and sleet, it froze the inner flywheel and mechanisms in there. The gate was stuck up. Our contractor could not get into it to unfreeze it. Luckily, David was able to get in there with some WD-40 and fix it for us. Things a lot cheaper too. But when we're looking, it was convenient at the time because coming down that hill with the amount of ice we had would have been dangerous for any driver, but it also was a security concern, so we're glad that was taken care of. Also, we have alarm system monitoring contract that we're redoing. We're looking, Matt said the bathroom, ballroom kitchen up to code. We're looking at repairs on this parquet floor here. There is some splintering and damage to it, although it's not listed in our reserve study. It was with the carpeting for maybe another 6-8 years. It has come to notice that it could be some trip hazards. We found that where there is some splinters and what have you, this floor has been treated and sanded enough to where it may look that we need to do a replacement rather than another repair. So we have people coming in to look at that as well. We're doing clubhouse painting, we're at the ceiling painting. If you'll notice in some of the rooms that do not have drop ceilings, the small card room, the billiards room, the foyer, in here, there's long time, 28 years worth. You can see the tape peeling, we have structure cracks, we have water damage. So we're looking to get that done. Usually David and Tyler do a lot of the paint repairs inside and out, but this is a little bit too much and too high for them, so we have people coming in. And now to the biggie. Mike already mentioned that with the snow that we had, Riverview Meticulous is no longer our contracting company. We couldn't have been more pleased with the cooperation we got from Down to Earth. As we said, we were talking to them for a year and a half. We were talking to other companies, Good Mowing, we talked to Turfmaster again, there was Solace Landscaping. However, Down to Earth gave us the best package. They were easier to work with, they're over in Jackson. And they proved that during the snow event. We called them that Tuesday morning, and their crews just came over an overnight shift, and they had 4 crews here in a matter of 2 hours to help us out with the equipment. So they did an amazing job. Mary had mentioned that there's a $40,000 charge in the financials this month for snow. That is just a place marker for now. We did receive invoices from Riverview Meticulous for the snow event, and we kicked them back. There was the invoicing was not up to par to what we requested. We knew the determination was coming, and we went to the attorney that we want to make sure that they're whole on this. Not only did we get over 300 friendly calls, we got numerous damage reports, garages, gouges in the driveway, turf. We don't know what else is out there. Once the snow melts, we'll probably see sprinkler heads, Belgian block repairs. We wanted to make sure and ensure in this termination agreement that Meticulous Riverview, I say Meticulous, they're no longer Meticulous anymore. They've come out. Riverview is liable for all these damages. They are slow to get out here to make appointments with the homeowners to come out to inspect, but they have the insurance to cover this. We want them, and we told them to make sure they start talking to people. The snow's starting to melt, we can see a little bit more out here. We want to make sure this is taken care of. And it'll be a chance for them to come whole with us, and then we'll see about paying that. But the $40,000 charge was an estimate. We did not get billed by Down to Earth yet, and we've been working with the township. If you're not familiar, we have a municipal snow contract with Toms River, where they reimburse the contractor a certain snow services. If they do our roads, plowing or salting, that's reimbursed at a percentage. The township will pay directly to the contractor. When we do the parking lots or the driveways, that's on the association. So we worked it out with Toms River. They've been very cooperative with us, that we are adding with Down to Earth to this municipal service contract with Riverview Meticulous as of January 1st. This way that this storm here, any work that they did, billable to the township, or on that contract, they will honor. So we're waiting, and we met with, particulars on Friday. We redlined some of the items on their contracts coming through, so we know what we're getting when we come in here. And they're revising their invoicing to work with the township directly and then with us. So that is why, for the placeholder, that's why we don't know where we're at right now. We do know that from the early January storms, probably about 18 grand, I think we did in snow charges so far. But in the progress we made with Down to Earth, the trouble we had with the old company, as Mike said, I really do want to emphasize, the ladies in the office did not deserve those calls that came in. They were pretty bad. We walked in Tuesday morning, because Monday was a state of emergency. There were 124 voice messages to start, and over 300 by the time they were done. And what they did is they screened every message first, took the address and the number, and go through to make sure there were no emergencies. And in so much, there were 7, 8 the same calls from the same people. We understand what went on. We're homeowners. We went through the same stuff. We were out digging ourselves out in some cases. I'm sitting at home on the state of emergency, and I'm trying to talk to these people and get things going. And when the company shows up with 6 guys and 6 tractors, and one of them breaks down, and we're sitting there and saying, this is not going to work. It's not only depressing, it's scary, because you know what you're walking into the next day. And all I can say is thank God for this company. They did a great job. It also relegated people to take a lot of matters in their own hands. And in going back and forth with the complaints we had, the suggestions we had, we ran it by the association attorney, and his comments on this is that the attorney stated that dissatisfaction with the snow removal work is not a basis for withholding payment of maintenance fees. Also, any expense incurred for an outside contractor to service individual driveways was a resident option and not one reimbursable by the association. So I wanted to get that out there ahead of time. I know we have a lot of concern sheets about that. All the concern sheets were sent down to the Riverview office. We have everything recorded. We have it ready to go to the attorney in case they lapse on any repairs or retention. So please, keep us informed. If you heard from them, if you did hear from them, we're going to keep trying to light a fire under their behinds here. Meticulous Landscape was also awarded the project to repair the riprap and clear out the 2 detention basins in Clear Lake and Torrington. And this was delayed because of weather and because of drainage issues. As you can see, it's still pretty well flooded out there. That proposal was canceled, and we are going to Down to Earth and other companies to get proposals to get that done. And people are concerned about their lawns and roadside grass areas. They are all repaired during the spring cleanup. Down to Earth will take care of that when they come in. They'll flatten the areas, reseed them, and we'll get them started for spring. And I know that was a lot to take in. Again, I want to thank the people, everybody, for their patience during the storm. It was a bad storm. It was tough handling it remotely. But as I said, it's glad that we brought in this company. We got to see what they did and what they're going to do for us in the future. So thank you.
All right. Ed just had something else that he'd like to share.
As a follow-up to what Ray said about the office staff and the 300 calls, I don't doubt that many of those calls involved some claim to a medical emergency that required the driveway to be plowed, get the people to their doctor's appointments. The distressing thing about that is so many of those calls had no members on the list in the office. So this was the first time the office heard of any medical necessity for the emergency plowing. So if you have a medical condition that requires priority plowing, it behooves you to get to the office with the doctor's explanation for the emergency so that the office knows to prioritize your plowing. There were several cases that I heard of, and I'm like third down the list of people to be notified about this. Of somebody who said, well, we have a medical, are you on the list? No. Well, you know, let's be reasonable, folks. If you're not on the list, the office doesn't know to put the priority out there. So if you have a medical condition that requires a priority plowing, come to the office with a doctor's clear explanation as to the nature of the emergency and get on the list. That's the least you can do for the courtesy you demand. Thank you.
Current,
All right, well, Ray has one more thing.
currently, the emergencies handled are chemo and dialysis. But we bring in the doctor's note, and the board will review as well. Mike had mentioned the election. I forgot to give you the timeline real quick. Just quickly, the election committee will begin meeting on February 23rd. Notice of the meeting and nomination forms will be going out to the printer on March 2nd, so you should be receiving them in early March, the first couple of weeks. The deadline for candidate interest form would be Wednesday, April 1st. April 13th will be the mailing of the cover letter, ballots, and biographies. April 13th here, 7 p.m. is candidates night. Voting begins on April 16th, and the deadline is May 14th at 10 a.m. The election results will be at the 7 p.m. open meeting that night, Thursday, May 14th.
Okay, that'll go out in print as well because there was a lot of dates put. So I want to go back to this again. Why didn't we act sooner throwing the company out? And I let Ray go first. There were the damages to consider. They're held responsible. We had to get the lawyer to agree that we can hold payments. We had to hold them responsible and yet terminate them. And failure to perform, the residents gave us many examples of that. Along with Ray went out and took videos of the huge mountains and not clearing the fire hydrants and not clearing the mailbox. And all of this together made a story that would hold up in court to say they didn't do what we contracted with. So again, there's reasons why things have to be done in a methodical order. Okay, so may I now have a motion to complete the business portion of the meeting? Oh, sorry, Mary has something else, okay.
Okay, just an FYI, on March 4th at 11 a.m. in the annex, we are going to have a meeting concerning the courtesy bus that we have. So please put that date in your calendar. It's March 4th, 11 a.m., and it's in the annex. Thank you.
All right, for those of you who don't know, we have a contract with Stouts Busing for the courtesy busing of residents, and we're reviewing that as well. That's what that was about. All right, so now, may I have a motion to complete the business portion of this meeting from a board member? All right, may I have a second to enter this? A second. All board members in favor of ending the business portion of this meeting, please state aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The business portion of this meeting is now closed. We will now start the normal question and answer portion of today's meeting.